I want to welcome you to the podcast today. Today, we're going to talk about a topic that I get asked about so often. It is worth the listen. Today, we're going to talk about forgiveness, how to cultivate compassionate children. Have you ever struggled with that? I know I have. Man, it is hard to be wronged, and we have a brain that's fully functioning. Imagine a child, they're wronged by a sibling or a friend, and they lose it, and then they want to hold on to it. How do we help them through this whole concept of recognizing, one, that their actions impact others when they're the ones that need forgiveness, forgiving themselves, and forgiving other people? We're going to dive into that today. And I think it's a conversation that you're going to relate to. And hopefully, it's going to be one that you can help your children grow from, and so that they become adults who can navigate conflict resolution, who can navigate forgiveness. Listen, I think it's real hard when we get told that we've got to forgive someone, because I think as a kid, you think that means it doesn't matter. What they did was okay. If you're on the receiving end of forgiveness and you're the one that needs to be forgiven, sometimes I almost think that's easier. It's easier to ask for forgiveness than to offer forgiveness. We're going to talk about both of those today. We're just going to talk about the whole concept of apologizing, saying I'm sorry, and forgiveness, whether you're the one that did the offense or you were being offended. But listen, one thing if forgiveness is not, we are never going to say forgiveness is excusing behavior. It is never recognizing that it doesn't matter, because it does matter when you're wronged. We're going to talk about how, if something is broken, we still need to fix it. Even if it's been forgiven, we still need to take care of that if we're the ones that broke something. So my daughter-in-law is precious. Well, all my daughter-in-laws are precious. They're all so different, but I only have one that has children. And they came to visit recently. And during that visit, one of the toddlers broke a picture, knocked it over, broke it. And it happened to be a picture that actually Caroline gave me as a present. But you know what she did? She said, "Hey, I've ordered a new frame. It'll be here this week." She didn't ask me. She just ordered it, sent it. "Hey, I replaced the frame for you. So sorry that James knocked it over." Now, part of my responsibility is I try when the grandkids come to move stuff. So I should do a better job of moving things out of the way so James can't get to it, the little ones. We have toddlers again in the house. But even then, she took it upon herself to do that. Listen, forgiveness is not saying, "Hey, don't fix it." It's okay to let someone replace something that's broken, or if you're the one that broke it, it's okay to replace that. I mean, that's important. I'm not here to say that we want to teach kids to be a doormat. I don't want you to be a doormat. What I want is that for children to understand their behavior has consequences, number one. What we do impacts others, whether it's our words or our actions. And then also, when you are on the receiving side of someone of hurting you, how powerful it is to offer forgiveness, because the forgiveness really is about us. It helps us. It's not even about the other person. When we forgive someone else, it's amazing how that frees us up. So let's dive into that. All right. So we need to remember that children don't have the understanding of sorry. If you're around me, you hear me speak, I always talk about that kids should not be forced to say they're sorry. And people often misunderstand that. They're like, "Oh, Kathy, what do you mean? Of course I want my kids to be sorry for what they've done." Absolutely. I would agree. I do want our kids to be sorry, but by forcing them to just verbally spit out, "I'm sorry," and move on, that's not teaching them to be sorry. There's a big difference. So let's start there. How do we get a child to understand that their actions have consequences? That when they hurt someone, that is not okay. Well, you start by modeling that. If you hurt someone with words or actions, you say, "My goodness, I see that hurt you. How can I make that better? What do you need from me right now?" And it is okay to say the words, "I'm sorry." I'm not saying the words, "I'm sorry," are bad. I'm just saying we need to teach the children the concept of that and what that looks like. It isn't just words only. And those words are like magical. And once you say them, it's over. Because what happens, let's be honest, you've seen those children and even those adults who will do something, and it might be a sarcastic statement. They might say something sarcastically. And they're like, "Well, I mean, I was just kidding. Sorry. I was just kidding." Well, no, I didn't know you were kidding, and that hurts. So what I'd want to say is, hey, let's go back and recognize words hurt. So when we're children, we want to teach that. So let's use something practical. Let's say you have a child and another child takes their toy. And so the first child whose toy was taken gets up and reacts and they hit the child that took their toy out of frustration. Well, often we want to get rid of the situation. So we grab the toy and like, well, nobody's going to have the toy. But that doesn't really teach the lesson. It takes time to teach the lesson to say, all right, let's call them Luke and we'll say John Michael. I'll use John Michael. Luke and John Michael. They were buddies when they were young. I might say to Luke, hey, Luke, wow, look at John Michael. He is crying because you hit him. And Luke's going to say, well, he took my truck. John Michael, did you take his truck? Yeah, but he hit me. What could he have done differently? Luke, could you have done something other than hit him when he took your truck? I don't know. I could have cried. Well, you could have cried. Would that have made it better? Probably not. What could you have done when he took your truck? I could have used my words. Yes, you could say, hey, I'm playing with that. You give it back. And John Michael might say, but I wanted the truck. And then we would say, depending on the child, because again, like 2 and early 3s, they don't even understand this concept of sharing. They think, hey, it's my truck. At one point, it's my truck always. But you might want to say, hey, John Michael, Luke was playing with that truck right now. Why don't we give Luke 5 more minutes? Luke, is that okay if we give you 5 more minutes and then you'll let John Michael have a turn? Or if he says, no, that's not okay, then I'm going to say, John Michael, how about we go try and find another truck and see if I bet we have 2 trucks. I think we have another one over here. And let's see, and you guys could either play trucks together or you can play over here. But it takes time. I get it. You're like, I don't have time for that. I'm exhausted. I've got so many kids. But if you don't take the time now when they're little, it's one of those things, you guys. If you don't take time when they're little, it's going to show when they're older. So put in the effort. They will eventually learn to do it themselves. It's amazing. I've watched kids who've learned like sibling conflict tools. For example, putting their hands up. If the mom says hands up, the kids know hands up. And that means to stop that fighting initially. And then you work it out. They've used these tools and the kids do it. It is amazing. Now, what we're recognizing everyone has big feelings at that age. We're recognizing that sharing is a concept that not every child has, especially if they're under the age of 3. Doesn't exist, cognitively. And recognizing they need help and support from us to work out those issues. I see that you're sad. Wow. Those are big emotions. I see that you're angry. What can we do? What do you need from me? And then even to the child, what could you do to make it better? And they might say, well, I could give them a hug. Then you would go to that child, will a hug make it better? And they're like, no. I could say, I'm sorry. Would I'm sorry make it better? And they might say yes. Again, the words I'm sorry, that's not what's bad. It's the forcing the I'm sorry without helping them understand actions have consequences. We want actions to have consequences. And then once whatever has happened to make it better, then is our time to jump in for forgiveness. John Michael, can we move on from this? Do you forgive Luke for hitting you? Yes. Luke, how about John Michael for taking your truck? Can you forgive him for taking your truck? Are we ready to move on and play together again? Nope, not ready. Okay, not ready. We'll give you some more time. John Michael, you come over here and play with me for a little while. Luke needs a little more time. And then a few minutes later, Luke, how are you feeling over there? Are you ready to get back and play together? Have you been able to move on and forgive John Michael? Using the language, helping them see what that language looks like in real life, all of those things are going to help them move towards forgiveness. They're very practical ways to do that. You want to help them understand again, words have power, actions have meaning, and we've got to show them with our actions too. So moving on. Wow, look, Luke and John Michael, you are playing together. I see you guys have forgiven each other. And also, oh my goodness, John Michael, you waited until Luke was done to take his truck. I see you're learning that we do take turns when we're at each other's homes or with siblings. You have that truck and you want another one. Have you asked him if you could swap? You just keep that going. And that helps the repairing, the restoration. When you see them come back together, right? You know that with young children, restoration is quick, man. They are usually so quick to get over it. Something we can all learn from. And notice that, recognize that again, because when we do that, we're giving the children these tools that they're going to use for the rest of their lives. How does that feel that you've moved on and you're playing together? How does that feel that you've forgiven him? You seem happier now. Are things better? Those are all good. Using those terms and then helping them follow through and helping them label label the emotion, label the words in forgiveness, all of that is going to help them Like, have these building blocks, have these coping skills to navigate those interpersonal relationships. I think that's one of the things we see most in adults right now, our young adults. One of my children even said to me, she's like, Mom, thank you so much for helping us learn how to talk things out and to deal with it when we have problems. She's like, so many of my friends don't really even know how to talk it out. Again, all of this starts when they're little. We can't wait until they're teenagers and say, okay, now we're going to learn to talk it out. Now we're going to learn to forgive. We've got to put the work in 2, 3, 4, 5 and keep at it. And then they will get better at it. They will be more confident with it. And then you'll watch one day, you'll just notice, you'll hear them say, you took my toy and that made me sad. And you'll be like, whoa, what just happened? Or I'm angry at you right now. You made me angry when you made fun of me. Or all of those things are okay, you guys. Emotions are okay. Somewhere along the way, we were taught that emotions are scary, that being honest about them is weak. And if you're a person that has faith, even in that world, we were taught that, our job as parents is to basically dominate our children to train them. I'm real thankful that I have a degree in child development. I'm real thankful I've studied the brain and I've studied emotions and I've studied that whole emotional intelligence because it's the furthest from the truth. Let me be the first to tell you if you haven't already heard it. And I think you have. Feelings are so good. You know who I'm most thankful for? I bet you all know the answer. Mr. freaking Rogers. Because Mr. Rogers was the most calm presence in my life. He was the one who acknowledged that feelings were okay and feelings were powerful, and being angry is something we all feel. When I'm mad, he had a song about it, when I'm mad. And how do we deal with that? And learning appropriate ways to deal with our anger. And sometimes we need to ask for forgiveness. And sometimes we need to be the one to give forgiveness and offer forgiveness. It really is powerful and it really is healthy. And it really is the best way to lay a foundation for children who have social emotional intelligence. Because when we do this, we are going to help children navigate a relationship with a partner, potentially in a job situation, with friends, with their own children, continuing with you when they're also adults. All of this is important. If you don't invest the time when they are young in this deep work of social emotional intelligence, it will show when they are older. And forgiveness falls into that. It's such powerful work. So let me just say, you can't force it. One of the other things I've learned is there are some kids that are stubborn. And maybe you have them. They're like, I'm not forgiving them. I'm mad. I'm mad. I'm mad. I don't want to be their friends. All the things. And I am okay with that. I am okay with children needing time to feel their feels. I feel how I feel. I have a kid who says all the time, I feel how I feel. And they do. You feel how you feel. And sometimes you just need time to process it. Sometimes you need a minute. So that's when a calming corner is great, or a calming basket is great. If you don't have a calming corner, have something that you can give them and say, you know what? I see you. I see you're angry. You got big emotions. Why don't you take this basket of things and see what's in here and see if they can help you while you're angry? Maybe they need to break popsicle sticks. I think that's a great tool. Keep a whole bag of popsicle sticks, super cheap. Let them break them. Help them get that anger out appropriately. And then say, when you're ready, I'm here for you. When you're ready. And come back to it. Don't just let it be angry and go. I've told this story before, I think, definitely in the Gray Roots podcast. I don't know about here, but sadly, I had a mom who didn't ask for forgiveness. The way that she handled conflict was that she would be upset. And then when she was over it, we would just go back to everything was okay. And that definitely caused some deep wounds in me. And so I'm so quick to forgive now. And I think part of that, and say it, when I'm the one messing up, I will own it quickly. Now, I might get upset at first. I'll be honest, sarcasm is in me. And so I might get upset. But it doesn't take me long to come back and say, hey, will you forgive me? I definitely messed that one up. And I do wonder, so much of that, is it because I didn't have that as a young child? So one of the greatest gifts that we can give our children is that we can model asking for forgiveness when we mess up. And guys, we all mess up. We all lose it. We all get to the end where we're like, I've had enough. I know I've over and over. And so if that's you, one of the greatest gifts you can give your children is to go back and say, hey, listen, I was really upset about this, but I took it out on you. Or I was really tired and I lost my patience with you. Will you forgive me? What do you need from me right now to know that I'm safe and I'm going to work on not doing that again? Because it's not enough to say, will you forgive me? Because don't get in the habit of, again, like the I'm sorry with kids, that we can do whatever we want, then ask for forgiveness. It has consequences. And sometimes it might be, hey, I'm going to show up. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to make sure I get enough rest. I'm going to count to 10 before I respond. You have to also be willing to work on yourself with this. Saying I'm sorry, seeking forgiveness is not enough. It is the actions are bigger than the words. So hear me clear on that. Forgiveness, it is an action. It is. And so we have to show someone that we've done that and give them space and give them time. Forgiveness is powerful. I think it is something that we'll be thankful we put in the effort. I think it's a choice to forgive. I think it's imperative that we model it. I think that we want to focus on empathy. We want to focus on what can we do to repair. We want to focus on, hey, do you know when you laughed at that person that hurt them? Do you know when you said something sarcastic that hurt them? Do you know? How would you feel? All of that matters. Encourage your kids to forgive. Be quick to forgive. Model that. Live that. Say that. Help them navigate that. I think it's so important to build those foundational skills in their character. You won't regret it. If you take the time to teach this, you're going to reap these rewards over and over and over again as you watch your children grow into adults and you continue to navigate your relationship. I see it in my adult kids all the time because we still have issues, guys. We're not perfect. This relationship thing is hard. And I still have to seek forgiveness. I still mess up. They still have to seek forgiveness. But what we have the habit of doing that. We have the building blocks of doing that. We have the foundation of doing that because we work so hard in the early years. And so it is almost like even in the middle of it, you're like, I know it's going to get resolved. I know it's going to be better. I know we're going to work it out. And I know I'm going to forgive them and they're going to forgive me because we've done it over and over again. And hopefully not as often because hopefully we've learned some of the things that hurt and some of the things that are hard and we do it differently so that we don't continue hurting. If I can help you more on this topic, reach out to me. Send me an email. I offer mentoring sessions now. You can book a session on my website. Share this with someone who you know that might be struggling with teaching their kids forgiveness, or maybe they're an adult and they're struggling to forgive. It's powerful, forgiveness. Thanks so much for listening.